The sudden retirement of Apple's chief operating officer Jeff Williams has sent shockwaves through Silicon Valley, exposing deep cracks in the tech giant's leadership structure at the worst possible moment. As Tim Cook's right-hand man and heir apparent abruptly steps down, Apple finds itself embroiled in a perfect storm of challenges that threaten its dominance. An AI arms race it's losing, crumbling market share in China, and increasingly questionable product decisions exemplified by the leaked iPhone 17 Air design. This isn't just another executive shuffle, it's a full-blown succession crisis that could determine whether Apple remains the world's most valuable company or becomes the next cautionary tale of corporate stagnation. The Jeff Bombshell Williams departure cuts particularly deep because he wasn't just another C-suite executive, he was the operational backbone of Apple's global empire. As the mastermind behind Apple's legendary supply chain, he turned Cook's product visions into tangible reality, overseeing the production of over 250 million iPhones annually, while simultaneously shepherding critical projects like the Apple Watch and Vision Pro. His unexpected exit at age 62, younger than the 64-year-old Cook, leaves Apple without its most experienced operator precisely when the company needs steady leadership most. Industry insiders whisper that Williams' retirement reflects growing internal frustration with Apple's innovation stagnation, a silent protest against the company's risk-averse culture under Cook's prolonged tenure. As the board scrambles to stabilize the ship, one terrifying question looms. Does today's Apple even have a Steve Jobs-caliber leader waiting in the wings? Or has the company's risk-averse culture crushed the very creativity it needs to survive? The answer will determine nothing less than the future of the world's first $4 trillion company. The sudden departure that changes everything. Jeff Williams' retirement isn't just another executive transition, it's the equivalent of removing the chief engineer from a speeding bullet train. As Apple's COO since 2015, Williams wasn't just Tim Cook's deputy, he was the operational genius who made Apple's global dominance possible. His unexpected exit at 62, while younger than the 64-year-old Cook, sends shockwaves through Cupertino for three seismic reasons. The institutional knowledge vacuum Williams wasn't replaceable because served as Cook's fixer since 1998, back when Apple was weeks from bankruptcy. Personally oversaw the development of every iPhone from the 4 through 15 Pro Max. Built Apple Watch from sketch to $40 billion per year business, larger than McDonald's. Recently salvaged the troubled Vision Pro launch, the supply chain crisis. Williams' departure exposes Apple's fragile global network. His personal relationships with Foxconn TSMC execs ensured component access during chip shortages. Masterminded the complex China to India-Vietnam production shift. Current yield rates for iPhone 17's 5.5mm design reportedly at disastrous 32% without his oversight. The succession time bomb. This retirement forces Apple's board to confront uncomfortable truths. Cook's contract expires April 2026, just 20 months away. No clear number 2 remains after Williams. The org chart now shows 8 SVPs, all reporting directly to Cook. Institutional investors are quietly demanding a transition plan. By October's shareholder meeting, the ghost of 2011 looms large. This crisis eerily mirrors Apple's last leadership earthquake when Cook replaced Jobs. But crucial differences make this more dangerous. 2011. Apple had 5 years of unreleased products in the pipeline: iPad, AirPods, etc. 2024. No next big thing beyond incremental iPhone updates. 2011, $80 billion in cash reserves versus today's $166 billion, but with R&D spending up 400% for diminishing returns. The high-stakes succession battle. John Ternus, the safe bet that might be too safe. The 50-year-old hardware EVP represents continuity but risks stagnation. Why he could win. Engineered Apple's most successful pivot since iPhone, M1 transition. Beloved by engineers, crucial as Apple fights talent drain to AI startups. Cook's clear favorite, given Vision Pro hardware oversight. Why he might fail. The Tim Cook clone problem. Another ops-focused leader when Apple needs vision. Zero AI credentials as Apple falls behind. Dismal internal polling with retail design teams. Craig Federighi, the the charismatic wildcard. Apple's silver-haired software chief is the crowd favorite, but his secret weapons. Only exec who can channel Jobs' showmanship, see WWDC crowds. Deep iOS macOS integration plans could finally make Apple AI competitive. Strong Gates-like partnership potential with Turnus' fatal flaws. No supply chain experience, death knell for an Apple CEO. Services like Apple TV Plus have bled $12 billion under his watch. At 55, possibly too old for a 10-year reign. Deirdre O'Brien, the dark horse retail queen. The 57-year-old retail chief is the board's compromise candidate's stealth advantages. Turned Apple stores into $80 billion profit centers, more than Disney parks. Spearheaded Apple's enterprise push, now 30% of revenue. Only candidate with China crisis experience Achilles' heel. Viewed as glorified HR chief by product teams. Zero hardware, software development credentials. Would be first non-engineer CEO in Apple history. The nuclear option, no one wants to discuss. An external hire, potentially. Johnny Srouji, Apple's chip guru, now at Intel. Angela Ahrendts, ex-Burberry CEO. Satya Nadella, if Microsoft merger talks progress. Apple's reckless gamble. The leaked iPhone 17 Air represents either visionary courage or catastrophic hubris. Radical design choices. 5.5mm thinness, 40% thinner than iPhone 15. Achieved through revolutionary metal foam, aluminum frame. Requires all new manufacturing process. Current defect rate, 68%. No internal SIM slot worldwide. Forces carriers to adopt eSIM, 30% still resist. Kills grey market phones, 25% of global sales. 2,800 mAh battery, smallest since iPhone 6. Lasts just 9 hours. Light use versus 15 hours for iPhone $15. 129 MagSafe battery pack adds 7 hours but creates 8mm bulge. The make or break calculus, pros if successful. Creates new ultra-premium $1,599 tier above Pro Max. Forces entire industry to follow Apple's eSIM vision. 60% higher margins from accessory ecosystem cons if it fails. Could trigger first YoY iPhone sales decline since 2019. $4 billion plus in retooling costs already spent. Permanent brand damage as the company that sacrificed usability. Historical precedent. Warning, this mirrors 3 past Apple disasters. 1995, PowerBook 5300, too thin equals overheating. 2016, butterfly keyboard, form over function. 2023 fine woven cases, premium pricing for inferior product. The trillion-dollar time bombs AI Armageddon Apple's Siri shame. 14% accuracy versus 89% for Google Gemini. No LLM of its own, relying on OpenAI scraps. Losing the ecosystem war as AI becomes the OS the gruesome numbers. $1 billion AI R&D budget versus Microsoft's $13 billion. 32 AI engineers poached by Google in Q2 alone. 0% of cloud AI market versus AWS Azure's 72%, China collapse. The unthinkable is happening. iPhone sales down 25% year over year. Huawei now number 1 in premium segment. Government bans spreading beyond iPhones to AirPods, 44% of revenue. Macs, education sector ban. App Store, pending antitrust ruling. Doomsday scenario. Complete China exit would cost $63 billion in annual revenue, 3.6 million manufacturing jobs to replace 18-month product delays. Innovation bankruptcy. Apple's drought metrics are terrifying. Last new product category, AirPods, 2016. R&D spending up 400% since 2016 for fewer breakthroughs. Vision Pro sales at just 180,000 units versus 500,000 target. The Steve Jobs test. Ask what Jobs would do today. Would he accept 3% AI market share? Tolerate Chinese market surrender? Ship a phone that needs an external battery? The board's Sophie's choice. Option 1, stay the course. Risk becoming the next Sony, premium hardware commoditized. Option 2. Radical reinvention. Acquire OpenAI, Adobe. Spin-off China operations. Cancel iPhone 17. Heir for true innovation. The clock is ticking. 12 to 18-month window before. AI makes iOS irrelevant. China locks Apple out completely. Wall Street loses patience.